Alrighty. Alright, so this lesson is Silver 5. It's Ninjutsu 24, Riven versus Cho'Gath, I believe, top lane. Um, as a disclaimer, Ninjutsu said that they're rather new to Riven and they're trying to learn how to play them, so they wanted to just get some comments and feedback on their gameplay on that. So we will see that. With that in mind, I'll kind of explain the mechanics on Riven if I see any kind of errors, probably once or twice, but from then on, if it continues to happen, I'm not expecting it to change in the same game before this lesson was even done, obviously. So I'll point it out so that it's there, and if it continues to happen, we'll try and focus on other things anyway. So we'll go from there. I got everyone kind of organized here, I think. I need to take... What are we doing here? There we go. It's kind of unfair if I can see where the enemy team is, and they obviously couldn't. So it looks kind of just like a normal startup. Looks like he's practicing wall jumps and whatnot, kind of getting the feel of that. Just waiting for this to spawn.
Minions have spawned.
He has a teleport. His lane opponent has an exhaust ignite. That's going to make it harder to do anything in lane. However, he has a teleport advantage later on for map control. Also, he could have done Wolves to start on Riven and then teleported back to lane, be a little late, but have that extra experience advantage. Not entirely necessary, of course. So, just an option. It's kind of been more prevalent recently. So, just farming. Cho'Gath's silence is really annoying for Riven, as well as the knockup. There's just two hard CCs. Silence is really annoying in general for Riven. That's why Garen can kind of have his way for most of the lane phase. Okay, so right there, you want to auto attack in between every Q because of her passive, and just because it threads in so much extra damage. You don't even have to be really good at the auto attack animation canceling and all that. That gives you more efficient usage of your time, but all in all, just getting the damage in there. So your passive's only going to stack up to 3 stacks. So if you're already on 3 stacks and you're continuing to cast spells, then you're just wasting possible passives. So yeah, not a single auto attack in there. You just got to make sure you get those auto attacks in. Also, you can either lead with the shield, or right now you don't have the stun, but enter with the shield when you think you're going to be taking damage. That knockup ended up canceling Riven's knockup. But right here, there's really no point in fighting, just because you're tanking minion damage, and he has way more minions than you. Just kind of want to let the lane pull back to your tower. That's kind of looking like what you're doing. You don't want to be using your skills on Riven like this. Just because you can and it's resourceless doesn't mean it's good. A good player will punish you when there's openings, especially early when you don't have that much CDR. So it's not bad to farm with the skills or use the skills, just make sure you're using them smartly. With that being said, you don't want to be using the shield unless you absolutely need to use a shield, because you could have used it right there, for example, instead of just using it to get closer to the minions. If you're using it to engage, you know you're going to be blocking damage with it, that's good. But other than that, you might want to hold on to it. You also have the option of leveling the shield if you think the lane's going to be a little bit harder. I like to level shield. That was actually really lucky there. Really lucky that she didn't get knocked up there, and Sho kind of misplayed that. He could have exhausted more than likely. At this point, yes, I definitely would have went back. It's really easy to avoid that Cho'Gath Rupture as well, using the skills that Riven has, just because they're all kind of movement abilities. Let's see, what did she go? She went longsword. She got 5 health potions. I agree with the 5 health potions. Looking at the gold, could have afforded a ward as well. Although it's not currently a problem, because just that 1v1, the ward would be really helpful eventually. If you're able to, a lot of times, the reasoning that I won't buy a ward is if I have to buy a full item and I won't be able to get it if I buy a ward, or if I just need potions and I can't really get any if I get that ward, then I will go for that. Shouldn't be missing any minions here, especially if you're not fast pushing it. Fast pushing the lane, sometimes you'll miss minions, but it gets to deny the enemy them. Using the abilities here to not get the minions as well. Kind of rough. Also, slow pushing the lane. Nice dodge on that. Slow pushing the lane, kind of an issue. Nice use of the shield to block the tower. You want to make sure you don't go too far away from the tower when the shot is in the air, because if you do, your shield will run out by the time the shot makes contact with you. Right here would be a good time to go and ward Not knowing where their jungler is, I can't see them. Would be a good time. Pantheon's also really strong against Riven. And there's the Pantheon. Could have been avoided with a ward. She'll probably be okay because Pantheon used his stun really early. And she dodged that. So yeah, she's going to be fine. Those 5 health potions really coming in handy. The ward definitely would have been nice. She saved the teleport though, which means that she can use it to go to another lane, or if something goes wrong in lane, she can go back and come back into lane. I'm saying she just because of the it's a girl character. It doesn't mean anything there. That ward right there, that whole flash could have been avoided. Oh shit, Cho'Gath has ult. You gotta get out of there. That whole thing could have been avoided by walking around, putting the ward over the wall here, or on my YouTube videos, if you're unaware of how to do it, or anyone watching, there's a way to put a ward standing in this line right here where I'm mousing over, and it'll pop out. You put it in the wall basically, and it pops out in that bush since you can't place it in unplayable terrain. Oh, the greed. The greed is real. So that was pretty lucky. Should get all this farm on the tower here. I would have definitely saved that shield for when the minions all start hitting her, because they will once all those minions die. Not that it was completely necessary. I'd definitely go back right here. And one thing is, CS count right now is 34. I've seen about 15 to 20 minions die that were completely uncontested. And like I said earlier, fast pushing the lane, sometimes you miss a lot of farm. But when you're slow pushing the lane like she has been, you should be trying to get every single minion. If you miss like a couple minions, oh, okay. If you miss a couple minions here and there, fast pushing, it's fine, because you might be denying them gold and experience by getting it up to their tower faster. So save the teleport earlier, and then teleport it into lane right now. If she dies right here, she doesn't have that teleport available. It's actually a really nice use of the dodge. She gets the stun off. Oh, I thought she traded almost, but she didn't. Probably could have played that better, but that's just kind of a new to the champion type mechanics thing. We'll talk about the teleport there. She teleported to minions when it wasn't even pushing to her tower. For one, if you're going to teleport to your lane and you can all do it, there was nothing she was missing or gaining by teleporting to those minions right there. Should have teleported to the tower to save a minute on the teleport time. But another thing is, no need to use the teleport there. The wave is frozen in the middle of the lane. You're not going to be missing minions. It's not pushing towards you. You might miss a little bit to your minions, but nothing as drastic as if they were splashing against the tower. And now, especially on characters like Riven that are extremely mobile, even if the enemy team sees the teleport coming, you could teleport in. Bad example here because there's no ward, but if there's a ward there, you could have teleported in, made a play to get there, and then go for Dragon off after that. Lots of the times I'll use my teleport if I'm going to be feeling like I'm going to be really weak. If I won't, when I'm trying to go top lane to get, like if I'm going to miss like 3 waves of farm, I'll use that teleport, or if I don't think that anyone's going to need it. But even if I don't think anyone's going to need it, or there's not going to be a teleport opportunity, lots of the times I'm kicking myself after I use it because there was one. It's just a lot larger of an opportunity having that teleport available, especially when your lane doesn't have one. If you end up getting ganked or you get behind, it's insurance if you need to teleport back to lane in that case, if you're getting chain ganked. But more than anything, if you... Cho'Gath is actually just letting her beat on her. It's really good. It looks like she's getting some more confidence to dodge the abilities. But back to the teleport. What's better, teleporting into top lane and getting 2 waves of farm, getting every single minion, or teleporting bot lane, even if you only get 2 assists out of it, but your bot lane gets 2 kills? Now they're much stronger. Now you get a dragon out of it, and you got the experience from that as well, from the kills and whatnot. You're a little bit stronger from the dragon. That dragon might set up like a 5 dragon later on in the game, but for the teleport, a lot of the times I'm looking at it to help my teammates, as well as myself. It gives you that insurance, but it helps your teammates, because regardless of how strong you get, a lot of the games you just can't win by yourself. Definitely could have killed him right there. Oh, that exhaust was nice. And then he walked back in and killed himself. But definitely could have killed him. Some Riven, just common Riven combos, her ult takes a millisecond or 2 for the animation to go off once you use it. So she went Brutalizer, she went Lifesteal, that's good. She went Null Magic Mantle. Not the worst. Yeah, if you time your shield well and you're leveling it second, she's leveling the stun. I would definitely level the shield second. But if you time it well, you can avoid a lot of the damage. However, the magic resistance does help it, but it's not going to block his ult damage, which is usually what he's going to be finishing with if that's going into a Hex Drinker or something. It will help eventually. I definitely probably would have started trying to build cooldown reduction boots, because that makes it so you can use your abilities obviously a lot more often, and that's kind of the one limiting factor on Riven, is she has no resources, she just needs to be able to use it more often. So just trying to farm up here. I'm just gonna fast forward it a little bit. There's a lot of opportunities for her to go on Shogath here. He's just kind of giving them her. But what I was saying, that the ult takes a little bit of time for the animation to go off, but you can chain it and kind of meld the animation into other animations. So the shield, if you shield ult, you will shield, you'll dash forward, you'll ult, and then once you get to that location, your ult animation will be done, and you'll have moved, so it's kind of like a surprising jump. And that's why I see a lot of Riven players open with that. It's not just to close distance, gain a shield, but it's also because it cancels your ult animation. You can also shield stun right away. So you're stunning instantly while moving and gaining that advantage there. I think she was going for the farm rather than trying to run there. Okay, so that was played very sloppily. She still ended up getting a kill here because Cho'Gath's, she's just he's just letting her beat on him, which is good for Riven. But could have done the ult shield stun, and probably what she wanted to do there, I agree with walking away from the Pantheon stun to split them. I would have walked right up to Cho'Gath on his tower and tried to blow everything and try and kill him right there with the dash ult stun combo. And if he backed away, then just moseyed on through the jungle, because you're super mobile on Riven. And that's another reason that I like getting that cooldown reduction from the cooldown reduction boots. Uh-oh, losing control here. Because you'll be able to close a lot more distance with your abilities, including being able to go over walls, obviously, with your Q, having it up more often. And this occasion, though, like the game's pretty even. It's not really on her to be making that big of plays. But definitely would have went for the cooldown boots over that Hex Drinker. Probably would have got a Hex Drinker eventually, but not at this point. Starting to avoid the Qs a little bit better as well. Okay, Cho'Gath, that blew an exhaust. That's good. The farm is really in Riven's favor right now. Cho'Gath is using his mana carelessly, getting a lot of ganks, but not focusing on the farm when it's just his time to shine by himself. Farming is just super important. You got to think about endgame or even mid-game when there's no farm on the map and you're getting close to items and you're like risking your life to try and get 4 CS here, get 5 CS there, risking your life with no vision to try and get a jungle camp just so you can hit those power spikes because you're that close to an item. Then you think back to mid and early game when you were just 1v1 and you were missing minions to nothing. You were missing minions because your champion backed you off and you played a fight wrong, and by the end of your lane phase you ended up missing 30 minions. You gotta think about how helpful those 30 minions would have been if you had them earlier, had gotten them earlier, rather than having to try and do it that late into the game. Okay, so there's a teleport play. I want to actually go back and watch that teleport. I'm actually expecting that. See what's happening here. Okay, so she's getting ganked. Teleports in there. Pantheon blew his flash. Had the right idea to try and save her, and if they turned around and got greedy, it would have been fine. But I don't think there was any real follow-up there. But it was a good eye to be looking for that teleport. That's what I mean, trying to use it to help your team. A lot of times when I teleport, I won't get anything out of it, but if you gotta keep in mind, you can consider it something. If you teleport down and it saves a kill or 2 kills or a dragon, then that's a kill or 2 kills and a dragon that you're no longer down. You're not up it, but you're not down it either. Vision here. She's got decent vision. I haven't actually been looking at the vision too much, what she's been getting this game. She's pinging that Cho'Gath is missing, which is good. I would push that lane up if she had vision. She doesn't have vision, so it's smart to go back. She's got a pickaxe and a longsword here. Definitely should have got the cooldown boots at that point. The cooldown, just super helpful. Cho'Gath is bot. No way that she could have really known that was happening, and she doesn't have a teleport, so the best thing she can do is come back up top, split push this lane which is good. Should have kept pushing. Should have kept pushing because she knew that they were all bot lane. Way more important to get a couple of hits on that tower than killing the Scuttle Crab. And even if she didn't even get any hits on the tower, that extra wave or two, very helpful. Everything starts to add up as the game goes on. Okay, so the Orianna ult is down. Riven's kind of roaming around trying to help her team. Does Riven have a ward? No, her ward is not up. Bot lane is just farming together. Everyone on the map is missing at this point, and there's no deep ward vision, so we have no idea where they are. It's kind of risky, and they have a Pantheon. There comes the Pantheon, and everyone's dead. So valiant effort going in there. I definitely would have just turned tailed and fled. They would have lost the fight just as hard 2v5 as it was 3v5. It was basically a 2v5 because Riven didn't get in until her two teammates were dead. Very little you're going to be able to do there. Just got to let that turret go, unfortunately. If they die here, then the enemy team might be able to keep pressuring this next turret or some other objective. Got to back out. So they got a kill, and they blew two of our team's flashes, so that's kind of avoidable. Where's Riven here? Riven spawn. Alright, Riven has a Tiament, Hex Drinker, the Lifesteal. She's going probably for the Hydra, I'm assuming. Really need to get that cooldown. I've been preaching that all game. It is very important. Even if you don't have like cooldown reduction in the masteries like most Rivens would, still really important to have it from your items as soon as possible. It's probably warded there. Another thing is, let's look at the team. No one really has upgraded trinkets in the game. It's 250 gold. I myself keep forgetting to upgrade trinkets now, but it's 250 gold. And if you get that early, you have that utility for longer. And the more people get it, the more advantage you have from that. It's really helpful to have that. Okay, so I gotta slow this down. The fight's breaking out. Kind of blew everything. Pantheon's going on in the back. Riven is... Okay, I gotta rewind that. I didn't realize what was going on here. Okay, so Riven's killing the Scuttle Crab while her team's all fighting there. She's going to stop Ori, but there's a huge fight breaking out. Riven's still walking to kill Ori. Riven has her teleport up. There's this fight breaking out right here. Riven's still walking off by herself. Still has her teleport up. So, the team cleaned up really hard. There's a couple things that could have happened there. Riven could have stayed and pushed that tower down and then used that teleport to get back to defend that tower. Or when she was walking back to kill that tower and they noticed that fight was breaking out, it sucks. It's a worse use of the teleport. Wow, this worse use of the teleport, walking away and then teleporting back to where you just were. But that could have, if that fight had not have gone in their favor, they could have been very far behind rather than having a huge advantage. She ended up using the teleport to go top and get that tower, which is good, but I think it could have been way better used. Also, another mechanic with Riven, the Tiament, threading in the Tiament in between abilities. You can use your Tiament right after dashing, and you can use the Tiament right before stunning, so you can thread it in between a dash, time, and stun, or you can thread it in with your Qs. There's a lot of ways to thread in the Tiament. She can definitely kill him right here. She can definitely kill him. She has her ult up too. I think that's just it's too late now. Yeah, it's too late now. It's just a bit of a confidence thing, not knowing the mechanics on Riven, not knowing what you can get away with. But right there, when he was just walking up to you in the bush, you don't even have to use any of like the dash to ult. You can also cancel your ult animation by flashing. That's a little bit of a more advanced cancel. But right there, you could have just ulted in the bush. As soon as Pantheon's coming into the bush, right when he's on the edge, you can Hydra stun, and then start your Q combo, Q, and then you want to auto between every single one. Save your shield for when you need to block damage or dodge something, and that could have been a double kill, I'm pretty sure. Because Riven is just shredding them apart right now. But it wasn't the worst. So their Pantheon's 7, 1, and 7. They're behind in kills because of that. The gold is a little bit in the other team's favor. It's a lot of pings. definitely would have been walking down to my team. You're not going anywhere. There's nothing that you're pressuring immediately, and if you see your team fighting, even if they shouldn't be fighting, you kind of have to support bad decisions as well as good ones, because if you don't support the bad decisions and they still make them, then it's better to be on the same page losing than not losing. It's better being on the same page as a team rather than trying to all do your own thing, because even if you're doing things that you should be doing, if they're not, it's going to make it even worse. So they ended up getting a big advantage out of that. Riven's trying to farm, which is the right idea, but without having that teleport up and seeing that huge group up mid, even if their team backed off and didn't die there, they would have had to try and defend the inhib, and if Riven's not there, it's going to be really rough, especially when they're behind as a team. So, not using the Hydra as much as she should be. Looks like that Shogath's getting caught out. She's in tower range here. She went a little too far. That's that shield, though. She's their Hydra right there, but really no reason in saving it when it's up. Just if you're trying to farm clear waves fast or get into a fight, you might as well be using it, or else it's kind of a waste of a buy in comparison with the Bloodthirster. Really risky spot to back. If she had no idea if that was warded or not, that could have just been another greedy death. Really in no hurry to get back either. Could have went all the way down. They're not going to be ending the game anytime soon. If the inhib was up, I could understand that. Very interesting engage. Also very interesting Orianna ult as well, but definitely saw that coming. Riven didn't have her ult there, but they weren't pressuring anything. The whole team is right there. It's 1v3. There's going to be a super minion wave coming. You have no reason to fight them. They're not taking any objectives. They're not doing anything, and they're not caught out in a bad spot. So it should have just let them leave, especially with you probably had the damage to burst down Orianna, even without the ult. Questionable, but not getting off any auto attacks. Auto attacks most important thing. Using that passive. So, all right, it's looking like one way or another the game ends pretty soon. Riven just spawned, teleported top lane to save the tower. That tower's pretty low at this point. I definitely would not have gone for that tower to save it, just because the teleport's a lot more useful. And the entire enemy team was probably at Baron. Waste of a flash there. Didn't need to. You're probably dead anyway. Sometimes you just have to swallow the bad choices and not make them even worse by blowing pointless summoner spells. Their whole team more than likely going for Baron. Teleporting up there to save the tower even for a second means you're going to get 5-man dove. So something to watch out for. Kazak's doing what he can to get away. Riven's up in soon-ish here. It looks like the enemy team's just death marching into the base as well.
Unstoppable.
Yeah, Draven is just going ham. What does Riven have? She went Tabby boots. So she went Tabby this late into the game against Cho'Gath Orianna. I understand the Tabbies against Draven and even Pantheon. I would definitely have gone Merc Treads if not going for the just waiting for the game to end, because it's pretty over. Definitely would have went Merc Treads if not going for the cooldown reduction boots, but one of the things I look for in Merc Treads is if I need the tenacity as well as needing a little bit of magic resistance, and if she wanted the magic resistance, she already went for the Hex Drinker. I definitely would have went for getting some free kills here. It looks like the game's going to be over just to minions anyway. The super minions, or the Baron buffed minions, are probably going to just end it. Yeah, there it goes. Definitely would have got the cooldown reduction boots a lot earlier. And if I waited for other boots, definitely get Merc Treads. The Tabbies on Riven would be a very specific scenario that I would need to get them early in lane, because that was helping me out a lot. But other than that, you don't need those later on. The build other than that, not too bad. I agree with the Hex Shrinker. I don't agree with it that early in the lane with Cho'Gath. Would have been a lot better to get the cooldown boots. And judging by their team, Cho'Gath has a Frozen Heart, Pantheon has a GA, Leona obviously has a lot of armor as well. Even Draven building armor. Last Whisper wouldn't have hurt either right there. Like I said, new to the champion, new-ish to the champion, only has a few games, so I wasn't expecting like god tier Riven mechanics there, but a little bit of mechanics to think on and work on throughout the game there. Just the basic kind of comboing things. You don't need to be doing like the perfectly smooth auto attack canceling to be effective with Riven in most scenarios. That's just like very high end game and situational as well. You're not going to be able to get that perfect all three auto attacks, all three Qs auto canceled fight 1v1 in every situation. A lot of the times you're going to be using your abilities to dodge, weave, and block damage as necessary, CC as necessary. It's really just getting a feel for what you need to do in this situation type champion. So other than that, a lot of stuff to work on. A lot of unneeded aggression in lane, especially if you're kind of iffy or unconfident on the champion. A lot of unneeded aggression there that never really amounted to anything, as well as Pantheon got a lot of ganks off because a couple times I wasn't looking for the most part, but the times that I did look, either didn't have a ward in the inventory to get ward vision while having the gold to do so, of course. That teleport was really, really iffy. That's one of the major things to look at if you're having a teleport. If you're going to save it, save it, and if you're going to use it effectively and efficiently, not to teleport to a minion when you don't need to. And then, yeah, other than that, it's kind of hard for this one to split up the focus between decision making of the actual game, regardless of your champion, as well as just personal mechanics on the champion as it's a newer champion to the player. But a lot of stuff to work on. I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you very much, Ninjutsu, for giving us that lesson. Once again, that was Silver 5 and relatively new to the character, so plenty to work on. I hope everyone else enjoyed that, and until next time, thank you for watching that, guys, and see you later.